If you guys have been following this channel for any length of time, you know that we like covering great JRPGs, and 2018 was a fantastic year for a variety of different JRPG releases. But 2018 is about to wrap up, and now it's time to look on ahead to 2019, and in this video, that's what we'll be doing. Specifically, we'll be looking at 8 big PlayStation 4 JRPGs coming in 2019. Now, all of these games are confirmed for 2019 as of the recording of this video, and I'm sure down the line, more games will be announced for a 2019 release, so we'll be sure to do an update video in the future. But for now, let's get right into this video with 8 big PlayStation 4 JRPGs coming in 2019. First up, let's talk about a long anticipated game, and that is Kingdom Hearts 3. Yes, Kingdom Hearts 3 will finally be dropping in 2019, early 2019 in fact, and we've been waiting so long for this game. Originally announced back at E3 of 2013, the anticipation for this game goes long before that with the release of Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2 released all the way back in 2005, and yes, while we've gotten some other KH titles since then, we got Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, we got Dream Drop Distance, and Dream Drop Distance was a significant continuation from Kingdom Hearts 2, but now we have a legitimate third game, and let's just hope this game sees a smooth release and it turns out really well. Based on the footage we've seen already, the game is shaping up very nicely. I would argue that Square Enix has honestly shown off too much of the game. At this point, the hype is already there. Let's just hope they can hit the release date of January 29th and we can finally enjoy this game. Moving on from that, we have Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. Tales of Vesperia was a fantastic JRPG released all the way back in 2008, and get this, over here in the West, it's an Xbox 360 JRPG exclusive. You don't see that all too often anymore where a JRPG will be an Xbox exclusive, but Tales of Vesperia was exactly that. However, over in Japan, this game did see a PlayStation 3 release, and that PlayStation 3 release was really the definitive version of the game. A lot more voice acting, additional characters, additional sequences. There was a lot of additional content that unfortunately us over here in the West never got to experience, but that will be remedied come January of 2019. And Tales of Vesperia is a game that's absolutely packed with content. If you want to do everything, we're talking around 70 to 80 hours. It is a lengthy experience, and it has a fantastic cast of characters with one of the most likable main characters in a JRPG that you're gonna come across. Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition will be hitting the PlayStation 4 on January 11th. Next up, we have The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2. Yes, The Legend of Heroes Trails of the Cold Steel will finally be hitting the PlayStation 4. The games have already been released on PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 3, and PC, but now it is time for the games to make way over to the PlayStation 4. And if you're unfamiliar with Trails of Cold Steel, and you're even remotely a fan of JRPGs, I'm telling you, you have to try these games. What these games really get right is incredible character development and incredible world building. Do bear in mind that Trails of Cold Steel spans 4 games. Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2 have already been released over here. Trails of Cold Steel 3 was released in Japan last year, and Trails of Cold Steel 4 has also been released. So you are talking character development and world building across 4 60+ hour JRPGs, probably even longer than that. And yes, while the first game starts a little bit slower than the second game, it's still very good because that character development and character interactions, all of those elements are on point. The music is great, and of course visually it doesn't look amazing because it was designed for the PlayStation Vita, but still, if you're into JRPGs, that's probably not your #1 worry anyway. Trails of Cold Steel 1 will be hitting the PlayStation 4 on January 22nd, while Trails of Cold Steel 2 arrives on March 19th.
They aren't going to let us past, are they?
They're smart little beasts.
So we'll just have to take him down. I've got you!
It's my turn.
Moving on from that, we have God Eater 3. Yes, God Eater is making a comeback with a brand new entry with God Eater 3. Now, if you're unfamiliar with God Eater, a lot of people will compare it to, say, Monster Hunter with a more anime look, and I can definitely get that comparison. But God Eater also has its own mechanics, and there's a reason why it's built its own fan base outside of just being a Monster Hunter clone. Are the games perfect? No, there are some redundant missions, and some of the storytelling isn't the best. However, compared to Monster Hunter, I would say God Eater has a stronger story, and so far what we've seen of God Eater 3 has looked very promising. This game will also feature a lot of new elements, including dual wielding, which is a first in the God Eater series, and I imagine overall refinements will be made as well when God Eater 3 hits the PlayStation 4 sometime in 2019.
はい、補足きますの声掛けがいいですね。
富山さんの画面が映し出されております。
そうしっかり避けた。
富山さんの画面でございます。
はい、なかなかこの捕食の攻撃をね、しっかり避けていくっていうのは経験が必要ですね。さあ
Next up, we have Nioh 2. Now, this is one of the more surprising announcements coming out of E3 from earlier this year. Nioh was a relatively recent release, and while it was received very good, I was surprised that Team Ninja would go back and create Nioh 2 right away, but here we have it. And the debut trailer really didn't give us a lot to work with. We still haven't seen official gameplay for Nioh 2, but given the fact that it will be a continuation from the first game and it'll feature a lot of the elements of the first game, it should be very good because the first game was received very, very well. Nioh 2 looks to be coming to the PlayStation 4 sometime in 2019. Next up, we have Code Vein. Now, this was a highly anticipated action RPG that was set to come in 2018. It's being published by Bandai Namco, and it's set in a post-apocalyptic dystopian setting with vampire themes. You'll consume bloods, get gifts, and there are other supernatural abilities. Code Vein has a very unique look and stylization to it. The action-oriented gameplay looks very, very good, and initial interest for the game seems to be very high given the fact that it is a brand new IP, and I think if they can deliver a quality product here, not something that's absolutely perfect in every area, but something that does turn out very good, I could see Code Vein becoming a franchise that's here to stay for a while. We'll find out as the game is set to be released sometime in 2018 on the PlayStation 4.
ための時間が長いという特徴があり
おお、なるほ
ます
ど。おお。じゃあ結構武器と同じような感覚で敵に合わせて画像も変えていくっていう感じなんですか？
そうですね、結構画素ごとに、吸血アクションが変わってきますので、敵に合わせて、特にボスに合わせてとか、どれを装備するかっていうのは非常に重要になってきます。
Next up, we have a game that's actually not a Japanese RPG. It's coming out of China, but it has so many influences from JRPGs that we're gonna mention it anyway. And it's a game that some people are talking about that know about it, but the awareness just isn't really there, so we have to fix that. And of course, I'm talking about Lost Soul Aside. Lost Soul Aside, from my experience when telling people about this game, is a game when they see it, they instantly become captivated by it. And how can you not? It's a game that's powered by the Unreal Engine, and graphically, it looks fantastic. And then you see the game in action, and you see this high-octane, fast-paced Devil May Cry style action gameplay that has some fantastic particle effects, and it looks to have very fun hack and slash gameplay. There is a lot of potential here, and the story looks to have a lot of depth as well. Originally, Lost Soul Aside started as a one-man project, but it has been fleshed out into its own game, and a big game at that. An entire studio is working on it at this point, and we've been seeing more gameplay of the game come out, but I still don't feel like the anticipation is really at a fever pitch, and it should be, especially because the game does look to be released in 2019. It has been in development for quite a while, but again, as a very promising PlayStation 4 exclusive, this one has a lot of potential as it's set to be released sometime in 2019. And lastly, we have Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles was a game that was released on the GameCube way back in the day, and it received a decent amount of fanfare. It seemed like a lot of gamers enjoyed it. Was it your typical Final Fantasy experience, a big budget experience? No, but it was a more charming experience where you take on the role of adventurers who travel in a cavern gathering mystical fuel for crystals which protect the world's settlements from the destructive Misama. I think the one word that goes hand in hand with Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is charming. It's a game that you're not going to take super seriously, but at the same time, it's a relatively engaging experience as well, and seeing it make a comeback onto a PlayStation platform, that is pretty exciting. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition is set to hit the PS4 sometime in 2019. So that's gonna conclude this video, 8 big PlayStation 4 JRPGs that are set to come sometime in 2019. Now, there are probably going to be a ton more JRPGs outside of this coming in 2019. We're still at the end of 2018, so a lot of games haven't been announced. And with JRPGs, sometimes these games are announced and then they just release a few short months thereafter. So expect a ton of other games to come in 2019 as well. You'll see some notable absences like the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm sorry, I just don't see that game being released in 2019, especially because Square Enix is gonna be busy with the release of Kingdom Hearts 3. And yes, while that game is coming early next year, I still don't see Square Enix of all studios getting out Final Fantasy VII Remake before the end of the year. But we'll see, maybe they'll prove me wrong, I doubt it. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
す